Hi, I'm Doug Marks with Metal Method Guitar Lessons. If you're a beginner, I'm going to teach you how to play guitar. Just start here and work your way through the course step by step. Along the way, I'll cover all of the fundamentals that apply to every level of playing experience. If you're an intermediate or advanced player, move through the course until you find a place that seems right for your level of experience, but don't overlook the fundamentals that are taught from the beginning. I promise, at some point in the course, you'll find exercises that challenge your skill level regardless of playing experience. If not, just increase the tempo until you feel the burn. This course is designed for self-study, but you may choose to have one of our instructors look over your technique from time to time because bad habits are difficult to break. I recommend to watch this entire video before getting started. It's not necessary, but it may help to put the first few exercises into perspective. Once this course is completed, you will be a competent rock guitar player, able to jam with friends and even perform for an audience if you choose. Regardless of how difficult any of this seems at first, you'll be amazed at how simple it becomes with just a little practice. So get ready for quite a ride. You're not going to believe the progress that you'll make over the next few weeks. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this course and learn as fast as thousands of other students have since I first created it in 1982. This is guitar tablature, which is an easy way to read music. The 6 lines represent the 6 strings. The top string is the first string, the thinnest. The bottom string is the 6th string, the thickest. Some find this confusing, and I have to admit, so do I. Here's how to figure it out. Place your guitar on your lap like this. Now, as you look at the strings, they appear exactly as they do in the tablature. The thinnest string is at the top, and the thickest string is at the bottom. Now watch me play each string as it appears in the tab. The O represents an open string. The string is not pressed. These bars are the frets. When I say to play the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I actually mean to play the space behind the fret. In the first diagram, I'm playing the 6th string, 1st fret, and you'll notice there's a numeral 1 on the 6th string. So that means 6th string, 1st fret. Pretty easy, right? Here's an A minor scale that begins on the 6th string, 5th fret. Watch the tab and look at where I'm playing. It should be obvious. If not, pause the video. I'll wait for you until you understand this. I'll be right here. You may prefer standard notation. If so, and you're using the Guitar Pro software, as I'm using, we can make that happen. Now I'll teach you how to tune your guitar. I'm going to go through this quickly because guitarists at all levels of playing experience use digital tuners, and I happen to have one right here, and they look like this. Still, I want you to understand this basic technique in case sometime you're stranded in a forest with your guitar, no tuner, and surrounded by a group of people waiting to sing campfire songs in tune. It's best if you start with a reference tone. That can be a note from a keyboard, a tuning fork, or another guitar. If you have none of the above, that's okay. The strings will sound in tune even if they aren't tuned to standard pitch. The guitar will be tuned to itself. As I tune to the note, you'll notice a slight wavering. When the wavering or oscillating stops, the note is in tune. If I go past the note, the wavering will increase. I'm plucking the strings with my fingers instead of using a pick. A pick is okay too. I use my picking hand fingers to deaden other strings so they don't sound while tuning. I play the 6th string 5th fret and tune the 5th string open to that. Once the 5th string is in tune, I play the 5th fret on the 5th string and tune the 4th string open to that pitch. Then I play the 4th string 5th fret and tune the 3rd string open to that. Next, I play the 3rd string 4th fret and tune the 2nd string open to that pitch. Last, I play the 2nd string 5th fret and tune the 1st string open to that. Now that you know the proper technique for tuning, let's get real. If you don't already have a digital tuner, you need to purchase one or download an app. Software apps are very simple to use. When the string is flat, it's below the pitch. The needle or light is to the left. Tune the note to pitch and everything is lined up in the middle. If you go too far, the indicators will display to the right of center. This is the way to hold your pick. Place it on your index finger like this, then wrap your thumb around it until just the tip is showing. Notice that the pick is an extension of the index finger. If you hold it correctly, it will be easy to coordinate because it will feel as if you're simply playing the strings with the tip of your index finger. Now take a look at exercise 2. When you see 2 notes displayed vertically like the 5 and 7 in the first measure, it means that these 2 notes are to be played simultaneously. 2 notes played together are an interval. Exercise 2 shows 2 fifth intervals. All that means is you're playing the 1st and 5th tones of the major scale. This will be fully explained as the course progresses. For now, all you need to know is in rock music, we call this a power chord. Quite appropriate. Here's how you play exercise 2. It's an A power chord followed by an F power chord. You can actually play about any song by moving this interval up and down the neck, like this. You can move this same shape to the 5th and 4th strings. Now I'll give you a little hint here. To make this sound clean, to not hear other strings ring, I actually slightly lean this finger here against the 3rd string to deaden it. And just to complicate matters, and I don't expect you to get this right now, but I want you to be aware of the technique, I am deadening the 6th string with the top of my 1st finger. So it's not going to sound as loud as the 2 strings that I'm playing. Like I said, you can play any song with these 2 little power chords. One more thing. These are power chords because we're using distortion. Since we're playing power chords, I'll take a second to explain how to set up a practice amp to get a hard rock metal sound. This is how the amp sounds clean. I adjust the clean volume here. I can turn it down or up. To engage the distorted sound, I hit the switch to change channels. Now you can hear a little bit of distortion. Not much, but a little bit. Also, this volume control right here controls the volume level of the distorted channel, but it doesn't actually change the tone or the distortion. So I could turn it up a little bit. And it still sounds exactly the same, just a little louder. Then we use the gain control to add distortion. Now you're starting to hear a little distortion. There's also a tone control that makes it a little bit more treble sounding or a little bit more bass sounding. Set this according to your own personal taste. If you want to go for the gusto, turn the gain up a bit more. Now we're starting to get some real distortion. For a little bit more distortion, we'll add a distortion pedal. Here we go. It's not that obvious when I add the distortion pedal, but it does give a little bit more gain, and as you probably noticed, a whole lot more noise. I've got the gain so high that it's difficult to tell the added distortion with my distortion pedal, but it's a subtle difference. At the same time, it provides quite a pleasing metal tone. This is what you need for a good practice setup. The angle of your fretting fingers should look like this, not like this. A lot of beginners hold their hand like this and wonder why they can't reach notes. Well, they can't reach notes obviously because of the angle of their fingers. So watch my elbow here. As I move my elbow toward my body, it changes the angle of my fingers, which makes it much easier to reach these notes. I'm not using a squeezing motion to press the strings to the fretboard. What I'm doing is I'm gently pulling my hand back to the fretboard with my arm, like this. So I am pulling my fingers to the fretboard to press the strings, not squeezing. There is a little bit of squeezing motion going on, but the thing that I feel more than anything is slightly pulling my fingers to the strings. And if it's not obvious when I'm playing this power chord, my fingers are positioned just behind the frets when I play these chords. And I'm only using these two fingers. As mentioned, a little muting might be going on with these two fingers. The other two fingers, regardless of what it looks like, I am not using them at all. Power chords sound great with a little palm muting. And by that I mean lightly rest your palm near the bridge. This is with palm muting. This is without. We also use this same sound on individual notes. The name of the interval is determined by the placement of the index finger. This is an A note on the 6th string, so this is an A power chord. This is an F note on the 6th string, so this is an F power chord. Now I'll teach you how to memorize note names later. My goal is to get you working on some playing exercises, then we'll cover the details on technique and music theory. I position the guitar on my right knee, obviously, and I often position a small dumbbell under my right foot. The object under my foot is just to slightly raise the guitar a bit. Some prefer the classical position, and in that position, you want to have the dumbbell or whatever you're using for support under the left foot to support your left thigh. Another thing you can do is to use a guitar strap when seated to keep the guitar above your thigh. And magically, at the proper time, a strap appeared. Now I have this adjusted really short. See, the guitar is over top of my right thigh. It gives freedom of movement. Makes it very easy to play. I also pay attention to my left fretting wrist to try to keep it as flat as possible. Another advantage to wearing your strap is it's very easy to stand, and your guitar remains in the exact same position as when you're sitting, so you should be very comfortable. One thing though, when you're standing with your guitar strap up like this, you're going to look a bit like a dork, so over time gradually drop your guitar a bit. Play the notes in exercise 3 using the exact same fingering that I'm using. Fingering will be notated in this course like this: first finger, second, third, fourth. And that fingering is shown below each line of tab. If an exercise covers 4 frets, use 4 fingers. And by 4 frets, I don't mean that they all have to be in a row like that. I mean, this is 4 frets too. So you will use typically your 4th finger, your pinky, on the 4th fret, and your index finger, the 1st finger, on the 1st fret. As you press each note down, leave it pressed, and don't lift it until you have to. It's easy to see when I'm playing notes like that. Chromatic is what it's called, each note on the fretboard. But the same thing is true when you're playing other notes in the scale. This will take some practice, but eventually will allow you to play these notes very quickly because it's an efficient way of moving your fingers. In other words, this is much more effective than the pick movement that we'll do on this next exercise is all downstrokes. Be sure to tap your foot on the beat. Exercise 4 is similar to exercise 2, except it uses the power chord on the 5th and 4th strings. An electric guitar is recommended for this course, but much of what I'm teaching can be learned on an acoustic. There are 2 reasons that an electric guitar is recommended. The first is because an electric guitar is easier to play than an acoustic. Electric strings are thinner and can be adjusted a little closer to the fretboard, which makes them easier to press. The second reason that an electric guitar is recommended is this is a rock guitar course. You will need sounds that only an electric guitar can produce. If you don't already have a guitar, the best advice I can give you is to ask a local working guitarist for advice before making a purchase. If you're on your own, check out name brands that you've seen used by your favorite guitarists, but those might be out of your price range. So try several different guitars, even a few that may seem too expensive, because you might find that an expensive guitar plays so much better that it's worth it to you. Look for a guitar that has a neck that feels comfortable in your left hand and with the strings that press easily to the fretboard. This is very important. Play each string up and down the neck to make sure that they all sound clearly. Now sometimes you'll hear a little buzzing at this point with the bass strings, and when you're playing on the high strings you might find that some of the higher notes deaden when you try to bend them. If so, the guitar probably only needs adjusted. If you're on a tight budget, a good guitar tech can make an inexpensive used guitar play like an expensive instrument. I'll also be giving you some tips for guitar setup in this course, but initially, I wouldn't recommend for you to try any guitar adjustments on your own. Let a professional guitar tech look over your guitar. Next, I'll identify the various parts of the guitar. This is the headstock, the neck, and the body. These are the tuning keys. This is called the nut. These metal bars, as explained earlier, are the frets. The wood that the frets are in is called the fretboard. That's right here, or the fingerboard. This is the bridge, where the strings come in contact with the body. Here is a vibrato tailpiece for bending notes. These are fine tuners for making small tuning adjustments to each string. They're not standard on all bridges. This particular bridge is a Floyd Rose. Other bridges come in a variety of different designs with different functions and adjustments. All electric guitar bridges can be adjusted for both string height and intonation. I'll cover intonation in detail later in the course. This is called the rear pickup, This is the middle. This one is called the front. I primarily use my rear pickup for both rhythm and lead guitar. I occasionally use the middle and front for leads as well. The pickup or combination of pickups is selected by either a single switch or series of switches, depending on the make and model of your guitar. On this guitar, I have 3 switches right here, each for a pickup. To learn about the pickup selector switch and the function of all guitar parts, download a copy of your guitar's user manual from the manufacturer's website. The signal passes from the pickups through the pickup selector switch and through the volume and tone controls, then through the output jack, guitar cord to the effect pedals, and your amplifier. This course is divided into weekly lessons. If you practice an hour a day, 5 days a week, and you're studying a lesson that's correct for your level of experience, you should complete it in about a week. Initially, an absolute beginner will only need to practice about 30 minutes a day because there are no lessons to review. As you move through the course, you'll need to practice each new lesson and review previous exercises. The animated tab that you see throughout this course is from Guitar Pro software. I highly recommend using this software along with my course. It's not a requirement, but it will help you learn the exercises faster because you can play along at any tempo. Start slow and gradually increase speed. You can also set it to automatically loop parts, play along with backing tracks, and much, much more. Although this is a rock guitar course, I will be covering open chords and all other aspects of guitar playing technique. So if you think this seems a little heavy for you, stay tuned. Practice at least 30 minutes a day this week, then we'll move on to week number 2. See you then.